So, what if success wasn't just an accident? What if it was actually a formula, a reliable six-step blueprint you could use to achieve pretty much anything you want? Well, today, that's exactly what we're breaking down. To kind of set the stage here, let me tell you a quick story. You've got this highly educated professor on a boat with a simple boatman. And the professor, he just can't help himself. He's showing off all his knowledge about geology, botany, you name it. He keeps telling the boatman, without this knowledge, 75% of your life is just gone. Well, suddenly, the boat smacks into a rock and it starts to sink. The boatman looks at the professor and asks, "Hey, do you know how to swim?" And when the professor says no, the boatman just shakes his head and says, "Well, then I'm afraid 100% of your life is gone." That story, right? It makes such a powerful point. Real-world success takes a lot more than just book smarts. You need practical swimming skills. So the real question is, what are your swimming skills? What do you actually need to know to thrive in this world we're living in? Well, it turns out, after looking at hundreds and hundreds of successful people, there really is a universal pattern they all seem to follow. It's a practical blueprint for getting what you want. And some people call it the ultimate success formula. And here it is, the whole shebang, the complete six-step formula. Just take a look at this roadmap for a second. It all starts with defining your goal, right? Then it moves into this loop of strategy and action. And the whole thing is powered by your inner game, your beliefs and your values. We're about to dive into each and every one of these. All right, step one. This is probably the most critical step of them all, knowing exactly what you want. It sounds so simple, but this is where most people get tripped up. They never get what they want because they were never really clear on what it was in the first place. See, vague desires like, "I want more money," give your brain absolutely nothing specific to work on. There's no plan you can build around that. But a crystal clear target, that's totally different. It acts like a laser, engaging your entire nervous system and focusing all your mental and physical resources on one single tangible outcome. I mean, just think about the power of that kind of focus for a second. At just 8 years old, Tiger Woods already knew his target was to be the best golfer on the planet. At 12, Steven Spielberg knew he wanted to make movies. That early clarity directed decades of focused effort. Their success wasn't some accident. It was the direct result of a predetermined outcome they set for themselves. Okay, so you've got your specific goal. Awesome. Now what? Well, the next 3 steps, they form what's called the action loop. This is the external, mechanical part. It's the how-to for turning that vision in your head into a reality. So step 2 is all about developing a strategy. And listen, this isn't just any plan. It has to be the right plan for your specific goal. Without the right strategy, all the passion and drive in the world won't get you where you want to go. And this is such a critical distinction. If you want truly exceptional results, you can't just use the same strategy as everybody else. You've got to find a unique, more effective approach. Just remember this. The problem is almost never the goal itself. It's always the strategy you're currently using to try and get there. But look, a brilliant strategy is totally useless if it just sits on a piece of paper, right? And that brings us to step 3. Take consistent action. This right here is the bridge that turns a mere thought into real-world momentum. So why do so many of us fail to take action? Well, it's because action is driven by emotion. Think about it. Fear paralyzes us, but motivation and confidence, they propel us forward. Personal mastery is really just the skill of managing your own emotional state so you can consistently show up and do the work even when you don't feel like it. Now, when you finally take that action, only 2 things can really happen. You either move closer to your goal or you don't. And most people call that second outcome failure. But the most successful people in the world, they call it something else entirely. They call it feedback. When we're faced with a setback, there are pretty much 3 ways to respond. First, you've got the quitter. They make excuses, they blame someone else, and they give up. Then there's the determinator. Now, this person tries harder, but they use the same broken strategy over and over, which just leads to frustration and burnout. But then you have the winner. The winner sees the setback as pure data. They take that feedback, they change their strategy, and they try again, repeating that loop until they finally succeed. So that's the action loop. But what's powering it? Well, that brings us to the last 2 steps, and these are all about your inner world. This is the engine that drives the entire formula. Step 5 is all about your beliefs. Limiting beliefs? Those little thoughts in your head like, oh, it's too difficult, or I don't have what it takes. They are the ultimate off switch. They either stop you from setting big goals in the first place, or they convince you to quit at the very first sign of trouble. Empowering beliefs, on the other hand, are the on switch. They are the absolute foundation of this entire process. A belief that says, you know what, this is possible, is what gives you the permission to set a goal, to find a strategy, and to keep going through all the feedback. And finally, we have step 6, your values. Values are basically the deep-seated emotional states that we find most important. You know, things like security, or freedom, or love, or achievement. They are the why behind every single thing we do. Now, here's where it all comes together. If your goals conflict with your core values, you will constantly feel torn and unmotivated. I mean, if you value family more than anything, but you set a goal that forces you to sacrifice all of your family time, you're going to unconsciously sabotage yourself. Alignment here is everything. So how does this all fit together? Because this isn't just a random list of steps. It's a dynamic, interconnected system for actually designing the life you truly want to live. Just look at how this whole system works together. Your empowering beliefs and your aligned values, they are the power source right there in the center. They are what fuel the outer loop. You set a goal, you develop a strategy, you take action, and then you use feedback to fine-tune your approach. It's a continuous, powerful cycle of achievement. And honestly, that's the biggest takeaway here. Success isn't some magical quality that's reserved for a few lucky people. It's a process. It's a skill. It's a formula that anyone, including you, can learn and apply to get extraordinary results. Ultimately, success doesn't just happen to you. It's something you create. It's not by chance, it's by design. So the only question left to ask is, what will you design?